Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Glow Up Guide podcast. So, today's episode is a pretty fun and interesting one, and I feel like it's something that people want to hear about, and that thing is being productive and entering your era of productivity. And these days, there are so many reasons that we are not being productive and making the most of the time, making the most of the 24 hours we have in a day. And I also happen to think I am a very fairly productive person. Like, it's actually kind of weird. Because basically, my friend came over on Friday and we were talking about how it was spring break and we were kind of out of routine and like she was talking about how she just could not do anything productive or like study, do the things that need to be done. And I mean, I just like listen to her and stuff. But it made me think about how I don't know how my brain is wired. Like I thrive being busy, first of all. So that's just like a good environment for me, but like busy to the point of like if most people attempted to do the amount of work I do in a day, they would probably burn themselves out within 2 days at the most. Yeah. And every time I tell someone that I can do all these things in a day, they're like, "Damn, how do you survive?" I'm like, "I don't know." And I didn't really think about it until I talked to my friend yesterday. Oh, not yesterday. On Friday. So that's just another reason that this episode idea was sparked. And I think I can give people pretty good advice on being productive. So there's that. Um, so I think I can share that with you guys. And I just wanted to talk about productivity, my favorite tips, and my advice on being a more productive person because we all started somewhere. Okay, I started somewhere. Honestly, don't know where, but yeah. Before moving on, let's do one thing we're grateful for and one thing we're happy about, plus our book of the week. And before that, we have to do our podcast and life updates, which is literally nothing for podcast. Nothing has been happening. I think I may or may not have quit Instagram. I don't know. I haven't posted anything on there in literally forever. And I keep procrastinating the fact that I have to post stuff on it. So, like, I don't even know when I'm going to get back on track with Instagram. But yeah, that's that. And then life updates, literally nothing. Spring break was last week, and school is starting tomorrow. Or if you're listening to this, school's starting today because this episode's going to be published tomorrow, which is going to be on Monday, and I'm recording this on Sunday. Anyways, so my friend came over on Friday. That was fun. I haven't seen her in a month and a half, which is actually really abnormal considering she's actually someone I'm really close with and hang out with outside of school a lot. So, yeah, but that was fun. Um, yeah, I'm excited about school starting, kind of. I mean, I don't want to wake up early, but kind of have to. Okay, and then one thing we're grateful for, and one thing we're happy about, plus our book of the week. One thing I'm grateful for is probably, let's see, kind of random and odd, but like all the memories that I have made in my life because I started, quote unquote, my 2024 scrapbook that I've been wanting to start for this whole year of 2025. For the past 4.5 months, I've been wanting to start that, and I finally did, barely, but yeah. Um, and I've just been thinking about how last year there were a lot of memories I made, even if I don't have photos of a good chunk of them, and how I'm just really grateful for all of that. So it's kind of random, but I'm just grateful for all the memories that I've made and all the people I've made these memories with, and yeah. And then one thing I'm happy about, my hair troubles have been solved. So my hair has been endlessly frizzy. No matter what I did to it, it would just always be so frizzy, especially in the back of my head. It would always be so frizzy, and like the curls just wouldn't hold overnight. Like sometimes they would fall apart, like by the end of the day. And so basically, I've been using a light hold gel, and I didn't even know it. So I switched to a strong hold gel. It's the Not Your Mother's Curl Talk Flash Freeze Extra Strong Hold Gel, something like that. And it's so cheap. Like I actually know not that brand. It's a really good brand. But I didn't actually no clue it was so cheap, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I have to buy this. I have to try it out at least. So I did, and it worked amazing. I have I have never had a curl cast like ever. Sometimes I just get like hints of one here and there, but now like I have like all over curl cast, which I have never had. Um, it's still in my hair, even though I did my hair like 3 hours ago. But yeah, so that was really fun, and there's no frizz, literally none at all, like barely any frizz. I mean, my hair still might be considered pretty frizzy for some people who have like pin straight hair with no frizz and whatnot, but for me, this is like perfect. Okay, literally no frizz. And the back, so and like it's actually holding, like my curls are actually holding, and I think they might even last overnight. I don't know, I'm gonna test it out and see tomorrow. um and I'm really hoping they last overnight, because then I will be so freaking happy. Like, I can finally quit all the ponytails and ruining my curls with the ponytails and whatnot. Well, actually, wait, I do have to put my hair up in ponytails for track, so I might ruin it that way, but whoop-de-doo. I can have good hair at least half the time if this will hold overnight. So I'm really happy about that. And then our book of the week is Powerless by Elsie Silver. So it's a romance novel again. It's part of a series, the Chestnut Spring series. I've almost finished it actually. I have like 50-ish pages left. Piece of hair just went in my mouth. What do you do? And okay, so the back cover summary, it's two childhood friends and they make an impromptu road trip to get away from something. And that's all that was supposed to happen, right? And then all this happens. So to Jasper Gervais's fans, he is a really great hockey player, and but to Sloane, it like he has always been the lost boy with the sad eyes and a heart of gold, the man she's loved in secret all her life. So when her life falls apart on the day that she's supposed to marry someone else, it only makes sense that he's the one to swoop in and save her. And when his world comes crashing down around him, he's there to return the favor. She's there to return the favor. But the more time they spend alone, the more Jasper isn't looking at her like a friend anymore. He isn't touching her like one either. And after all these years, he's still everything she ever wanted, everything she thought she could never have. These feelings aren't straightforward, though. They twist and turn around the pain of Jasper's past and the reality of Sloane's present. Jasper Gervais might act like he wants her, but after years of turning her away, he's going to need to prove it. So this is actually a really good book. Definitely recommend you read. This is not the first book in the series. It's kind of out of order. That I'm reading it right now, but I don't really think you need to read the series in order because it doesn't sound like you need to. But yeah, definitely recommend you read that. Okay, so moving on. First off, what does it mean to be a productive person? So this is pretty straightforward. Productivity tips and time management tips are pretty much the same, and the two things are very intertwined as well. Time management is a huge part of productivity, and productivity is a huge part of time management. And I consider myself to actually have very good time management skills. I also consider myself to be a highly productive person who can get a lot done in a short amount of time if I try. Being productive means you can efficiently and effectively work towards achieving a certain outcome or goal. You can use your resources and you can use your time well. Productive people are rarely found slacking off and being lazy. I think I'm a productive person because I'm kind of forced to, in a way, like a forced choice, if that makes sense. Like, I have the choice to not be productive and get all these things done, but it's kind of forced to make the right choice, almost like forced choice. Yeah, okay, that's a perfect way to explain it. My lifestyle, it requires me to be like this, otherwise nothing would ever get done. But we could all use a bit more productivity in our lives. Like, even me, I have not been doing the best with my studying, and I think I could do a lot better. So yeah, but that's the point of this episode. Thing is, though, you can appear to be a daily productive person, like a really productive person, and you can still not actually be productive. Productive people are doing things to achieve their goals. An example of this appearing productive but not actually being very productive would be, let's say you're trying to train for a 5K. So you like, that's a horrible example, never mind. Let's say you're trying to write an essay, right? So instead you go and, like, I don't know, do some other homework, study for another class. I don't know, something like that. I do this all the time. And like studying for that other class, it might be helpful, but like you need to actually get the essay done for it to be done. I hope that made sense. Basically, you're doing things that don't actually matter, and working is actually one of the most dangerous forms of procrastination. So keep that in mind. Goal oriented. So getting into the main part of this episode, first thing is prioritization and focus. These two are extremely important if you're trying to increase your productivity, and productivity, not productivity, prioritization, it means to pick out the most important things and make them your priority, or make them the thing you focus on first before all the other stuff, the other fluffiness. We all have things we need to do, whether it's from time to time or every day, that don't actually help our goals, or things that simply don't matter at all for us. Being productive, it means we can do the things that actually matter to us and our goals quickly and efficiently. That is why prioritization is so important to being productive. Something I do on the days I have a ton of things to do for school, by the way, and I only get an hour a day or so to do my homework on the weekdays because of my classes and track and just chaos. So, prioritization is super important when it comes to my homework to-do list. I literally never have time to get all of my homework done each day anymore because there's too much stuff to do. So what I do pretty much every single day at this point, depending on how long the chosen tasks take, I pick two to three tasks that absolutely must be done within the hour. Not finishing them is not an option. And then I normally pick two things I can do, which I have if I have time, which normally don't get done. And I normally don't get to those things. The rest of the things are things that still need to be done, but can be done later, so I don't really worry about them that day and just push them to the next day, which probably isn't the best option, but it's kind of what I have to do. And also, I apologize, I was actually sick. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot to mention this. So, we're gonna go off track for a little minute. The reason I didn't publish episode last week is because I was sick. I got sick on Friday, and then I was just unable to do anything. I was literally in bed all Friday, same thing on Saturday, and then Sunday not really bedrotting, but still not the best. And then even a week later, my voice still sounds terrible and my nose is all like clogged up and whatnot because regardless of all the high pollen things, I'm allergic to pollen. I keep going outside on my runs. And guess what? There happen to be trees next to me and a whole bunch of grass. So lots of pollen problems. And that is why my nose is all blocked up and my voice just sounds terrible and it's just going wonderful for me. So we're gonna deal with it anyway. And my voice does not sound as bad as it was a week ago. So looking on the bright side, over the course of the week, though, these things that normally get pushed all the way to the weekend, so that's fun. But if I was unable to prioritize these tasks, considering I only have an hour, nothing would ever get done. I think I would spend half the time trying and actually failing to choose which task to do, so that's why I take about 2 minutes to get it figured out and then start. Starting a work session with a plan is also really helpful because you know what to do and it will get done. Having a plan for really anything is always helpful. When you prioritize stuff, it helps you stay focused and not go into a work session just not knowing what needs to be done, and that is a recipe for failure. Well, a recipe for failure. Making a plan and then starting takes so much less time than having to figure out what to do each time you start a task and then doing said task. Just figure out your must do things first. That's how I prioritize. There's other strategies too, like the Eisenhower matrix. I know that one's a pretty common one. Basically, the first step is creating a list of tasks that need to be done. Your to-do list, and then all those tasks get split into 4 categories. The first is urgent and important, something that really matters and needs to be done ASAP. The next category is urgent but not important, so something time sensitive that doesn't really matter to you or your goals. Maybe something someone else asked you to do or something like that. Third category is not urgent but important. These things are things that probably don't have a deadline, but they do matter to you and your goals. Like cleaning. You can clean whenever unless you have people coming over or something. But if having a clean space is important to you, then put cleaning the living room or something there. Final category is not urgent and not important. These things, they don't have a time, they're not time sensitive and they don't matter. These things just suck up your time and they're probably distractions. A lot of the things that other people ask you to do can actually fall into this category. Scrolling on social media, maybe that's something that takes up a lot of your time. Yeah, just eliminate these things. Honestly, delegate. Try your best to get rid of them. But that is a great strategy of prioritization and one that I want to start using. But yeah. Um, Next thing, don't multitask. Do one thing at a time, and it might seem like productive people do a lot more in the day than the average person, and it might seem like they do that by multitasking because, after all, the same 24 hours in a day. But the opposite is true. Productive people get so much done by not multitasking. That is something I learned from unfortunate experience. I used to multitask all the time, thinking it would help me get more done. Everything took twice as long. If I were to just lock in and freaking focus on one thing at a time, I would have gotten both of those things done in half the time. Um, so yeah, just one thing at a time. Really, it will save you so much time and pain. When you multitask, you're just overloading your brain and making the whole situation worse. So yeah, just don't do that. Obviously, though, there are some situations like you can multitask. Let's say you're listening to an audiobook that you have to listen to and doing your laundry, pairing a non-brain consuming task with a brain consuming task, that works. But try to avoid multitasking whenever possible, unless it's one of those things where you just do it anyway. It makes focusing so much easier, and when you're focused, you can get more done and get it done a ton faster. Final strategy, for prioritization I wanted to talk about is the eat that frog strategy. I kind of already do this with my like homework prioritization. Um, yeah, but like I said, kind of. You've probably heard of this one. It's a very good strategy. I don't always use this, but I think I should do that more often. Basically, you pick the hardest, most brain consuming task on your to do list and do it first before you do anything else that while you and you do it while you have the mental capacity and the energy to do so. Putting it off won't do you any good. So get it out of the way. When you just eat that frog and get the really hard task out of the way, you don't have it hovering over your head while you try to do other things, and then you can focus on the other things a lot better and get a lot more done overall. So these are all really great strategies to like prioritize things and increase your focus, which can help you get a lot more done. Both of those things will help you get a lot more done. Next thing I wanted to talk about is time management, because time management is a huge part of increasing your productivity. You need to have good time management in order to be productive. And if you can't figure out how to make the time to do these things, then you can't actually achieve your goals and be productive. I have pretty good time management, like I said, but that's probably because my lifestyle requires me to be organized with my time. Otherwise, nothing gets done, like ever. And I don't want that to happen. I can't have that happen because that causes way too many problems for me, especially now more than ever, because track is so time consuming and it's only going to get even more time consuming, plus schoolwork, plus this podcast, plus my email classes, SOL prep. So it's a lot on my plate, and just random life maintenance tasks like cleaning and having a social life and workouts and whatnot. It's pure chaos. Not being organized with my time is literally not even an option for me. I already covered prioritization, which is a big part of time management already. Like I said, we are given the same 24 hours every single day, and what makes the difference is from a lazy person to a productive person is how those 24 hours are used. Time management is the key. I actually have 3 whole episodes on time management already, so you can go and listen to those if you haven't already. Those are some pretty good episodes, actually. But here I'll just go over my favorite time management tips quickly. First tip being creating to-do lists, or like task lists, whatever you want to call it. I have 3 to-do lists every single day. My personal one, so tasks like cleaning or just things that matter to my personal life go on there. And then there's one for schoolwork, so any things that need to be done for school go on there, and then another for the podcast, any podcast tasks go on there. This helps me organize my tasks because these 3 are the main categories that have things that need to be done, which suck up the most of my time. I use Google Keep for all my to-do lists and also create outlines for podcast episodes, and like really quick, and it's amazing. Totally free. You can create notes or to-do list on there. Organize your notes with labels, color code them, pin the most important ones, and even set up reminders on it. It's actually amazing, and you can integrate it with Google Calendar, which is also something I love to use, and that makes it even better. To-do lists have essentially saved my butt so many times. I always forget things, first of all. Anyways, I literally have the worst memory ever. But having to-do lists helps me actually remember stuff. I haven't had a single test that I have forgotten to study for this year thanks to my to-do list. I love using these to-do lists to pretty much organize my entire life. Amazing strategy. Next thing is time blocking. I know a lot of people might say this won't work for them, and that's fine. It's not something that's for everyone. Different time management strategies work for different people, but time blocking is something that always works really well for me. With time blocking, what you do is you take a period of time, let's say a day or a week, and divide that period of time into blocks. Each, like maybe I can't speak. These blocks are set aside for different tasks. I used this all the time last year and the year before, in the month and a half or so before my SOLs, to get in tons of studying on the weekends. An example would be like 12 to 2 p.m. is study, and then lunch, and then you study again from 3 to 5, take a break, and then go back to studying at like 7 and finish at 9, something like that. But that results in 6 hours of studying, which is really good. This is actually helpful if you have a big test to study for or a lot of homework going on, then you can use time blocking. I know a lot of people that actually do this, or some semblance of the strategy, and it's great, and I get why it works. Um, so yeah, but that results in a lot of work done. And this works amazing for me, actually. Scheduling breaks, though, that's really important for time blocking. So do not forget the breaks. Next tip is something that would never work for me, but is really popular nonetheless. The Pomodoro technique. This wouldn't work for me because this involves working in shorter bursts, and I do better when I log in for 2 hours and get everything done than working in like 20-minute bursts. Basically, you have distraction-free, focus, super locked in work time for 25 minutes. And then you take a break for 5 minutes and you repeat this 4 times. After the 4th work interval, you have a longer break for 15 minutes. This might work if you work better and can focus better in shorter work bursts of like intense work than longer periods of work times. It's something you can try out to see what works for you. Time blocking and Pomodoro technique. Final thing that isn't really necessarily relevant to me but can be helpful for really some people is delegating things and saying no to tasks. Sometimes we just can't do everything no matter how hard we try. Delegate those tasks if possible, and if you already have tons of stuff on your plate, try to say no to any new things people ask you to do. It's okay to say no if you can't do it. Next thing I wanted to talk about is overworking yourself and taking breaks when you need to. Productive people aren't always that way 100% of the time. I know I'm not. I sleep in, I'm lazy, and I slack off sometimes, and that's perfectly fine, and I know that. I don't need to be on or in lock in mode all the time. Humans aren't machines that can work all the time perfectly fine. We are not robots. We need to take breaks. I feel like productivity is great. We all need more of it in our lives, but social media can promote toxic productivity sometimes by showing us these people who are always working and seeming to lead very productive lives. They don't take breaks, they don't have much time to themselves, and that can lead to a lot of like negative thinking, and that just does not help anyone. Um, and that can also lead us to think that taking breaks is not okay and that we shouldn't do that. And like if we take breaks, then we're lazy or it's bad and that we shouldn't do that. And it also leads us to think like we should be able to work all the time, we should be able to do this, and it leads to really negative thinking when we obviously just burn ourselves out trying. um that's just unrealistic. You're only going to burn yourself out trying, and that will suck even more. So like so many people, they just stay up and they stay up really late to do work or answer emails or something, and they miss out on sleep. But the thing is, if we're sacrificing sleep to do these things, the next day we're going to be even more tired and not very productive. So get enough sleep. Take breaks. Like I said with the first time blocking thing, lots of work but sufficient breaks. Not burning yourself out, that's really key. Another reason I feel like I can do so many things and just move from task to task really easily is because I'm the kind of person that thrives being super busy. Having nothing to do or nothing that needs to be done is my way of losing my energy. So I essentially have more energy being busy, and that's just the way I am. That's how I can do so many things, not tire myself out. When I describe my days to my friends or someone, they're like, I'm getting tired just hearing about you say that you have to do all these things, and I could never do that. A lot of people are like that. A lot of people, their brains need breaks from chaos, and that's fine. That's actually really normal. I don't know how I do this. I honestly don't. It's a good question. But a lot of people, they need breaks. Most people need breaks, and learn to be okay with that. We're just human. We're just human, and that's what we do. And honestly, even I need a break from my chaos sometimes. Do what works for you. Maybe you like to have a gentle transition routine from task to task. That gives you a break from the previous task for moving on. I like quickly switching from one thing to another, but you do you. Many different things work for many different people. All our brains are different. Brain works different from your brain. That's most likely. We are all different, so just figure out what works for you. Figure out how to give yourself breaks and how often you need to do so to keep your productivity at its best. We can't be productive if we keep overworking ourselves, and the 3 weeks of crazy burnout from overworking yourself for however long really is not worth it. These breaks that we take throughout the day recharge our brain and our body, which is super important if we want to keep doing things and if we want to keep achieving our goals. Honestly, the Pomodoro method I mentioned earlier, that's probably a great way to take breaks while working. You just have to use the breaks right. Don't just do whatever. In the shorter 5-minute breaks, you can stretch for a little bit. You can read a book, walk around the room, get a snack, do something that will help you get into the next ready work interval to lock in hard and get some good work done. Then you can use the 15-minute breaks to like maybe do an actual workout where you could go outside, maybe even on a short walk, clean up your space, fold some laundry, or get some other tasks done. Whatever will help you go into the next work period feeling energized and refreshed and ready to focus. Don't go on social media though or play games because these activities only drain you more. And don't answer emails or something like that. Use these breaks to actually relax. That is a key to increasing your productivity. Next thing I wanted to talk about that is also really huge if you want to increase your productivity is dealing with distractions. Distractions are a huge part of why things don't get done these days. People already have attention spans that are super short, like goldfish attention span short because of many reasons, mainly technology and social media. We lose interest in things very quickly. Just a part of life these days. There's always distractions surrounding us. I have fallen victim to distractions more times than I can count, even for a fairly super productive person, actually. It's really easy to get distracted by things. That's just how we are. Sometimes other tasks are the distractions from what needs to be done. We often do other things from our to-do list that seem like we're doing things, getting stuff done, but avoiding the things that really need to be done. I do this with my homework all the time, and it is not a great system because eventually the other stuff's going to need to get done anyway. First up, have a clean and tidy workspace. My desk is where I do pretty much everything. I use my desk for podcast stuff, homework, swell prep. Sometimes I just sit there and read. Many purposes beyond that too. So having a clean workspace with only what you need to do, whatever you need to do, is like a major help. If you get distracted really easily, just keep only the things you need on your workspace. You don't need to keep a whole ton of papers on your desk. You don't need to keep your phone on your desk. You put those things somewhere else. Speaking of phones, a major distraction for many people is technology. Most of the time when I'm distracted or doing what I'm not supposed to, it's because of technology. Whatever you do, just never keep your phone in your workspace. Most of the time, it's just so much easier to scroll on social media than get up and actually get it together and do some work or whatever needs to be done, like cleaning. We just want to do what's easier. But try to keep technology out of your workspace unless you actually need your laptop or something to do your work. Like I need my Chromebook to do schoolwork and SWL prep, but luckily most of the sites that would get a person distracted are blocked, like social media and most games. But there are extensions that you can download that block certain sites for a period of time, so that might help. There's also like these phone lock boxes. You can buy one for like literally $10 off Amazon. It locks your phone up for a set period of time, and then the box gets unlocked afterward. Obviously, if you hopefully, I really hope you don't need it. There's an emergency button on these phone lock boxes, but they seem really useful. Or just keep your phone in a different room of your house. Literally as simple as that. Another solution is maybe your entire house is too loud because you have roommates or a loud family. I can relate to that one. First thing you could do is tell them to shush because you have crap to do. But if that's not a possibility and the only option is to just not be in the house and get out of there, then you just take yourself to a coffee shop and get your work done. Or a park. Those are both good options. Or like you go to a library too, that also works. Just or maybe get some earbuds that cancel out the noise. That's what I always do because my family is loud AF and constantly bothering me. I love them, but they're annoying sometimes, or more like all the time. Plus, if I have the earbuds in, my mom knows that I won't hear her and doesn't really bother me anyhow. So that's another good option. Just try your best to create a good, quiet workspace that you can actually work in and not have a million distractions surrounding you. That really helps to boost your productivity. I think this is one of the final things I have to talk about for today's episode, but your energy levels. You don't just have to manage your time well to be productive, you also have to learn how to manage your energy levels well and keep them in check. Your energy levels play a huge role in your productivity. There are tons and tons of varying factors that could affect your energy levels. Whether you've had enough sleep, maybe your period cycle, the food you ate, exercise habits, all that and more can influence your energy levels in many different ways. But if you have a good amount of energy, then you can get more done for obvious reasons, and like because you have more motivation to do these things and will most likely procrastinate less. And if you don't have a lot of energy because you didn't get enough sleep or you're on your period or something, then you won't really get that much done. Your energy levels play a huge role in how much you get done because if you have a ton of energy and you're just bouncing off the walls, then you're going to be like, I'm going to go check everything off my to-do list. But if you don't have like any energy at all you want to do is sleep, lie on the floor, scroll on social media, take a break when this happens. Maybe you just need to recharge for a little bit. This happens to the best of us. Maybe if you get sick, obviously you can't do much. Give yourself grace with that. So that's fun. But the biggest and best way to beat this is trying your best to schedule things, or maybe the things that are really consuming around what I call productive times, or like your peak hours. For me, my peak hours are about an hour after I wake up and about an hour or so after a workout. That's when I feel the most energized and ready to do work. People say you should do your harder, more important work early in the morning, soon after waking up, and that is not commonly said for no reason. It is very true that better work gets done in the morning hours. I remember when I would wake up at 6 in the morning, and that would leave me with about half an hour to do my homework every morning before school, and I would be so focused and so many things to get done. I would be like, who knew that many things to be accomplished in literally 30 minutes time? Even a little bit. It becomes powerful when you learn how to use it right and make the most of that time. And your energy levels play a huge role in that. But just like how we have our times when we're super productive and get a million things done in the smallest amount of time, we also have our least productive hours, or our drag hours, as I like to call them, in a day. And my drag hours are right after school and after 9 p.m. I just have no energy during these times, and you can use these times to your advantage to use it to get more things done in a day. Put the more consuming and the things that will require more energy, like schedule those things for when you have more energy, those productive times. But if there are things that don't really require that much energy, schedule those things for when you don't really have that much energy and you know you're not going to have that much energy in the day. That can really help save your butt. This is why I study and do homework like right after workouts, and I don't work out right after school, about an hour after that. I try to get everything done for the day by 9 p.m. because nothing else will get done after that besides some things like Duolingo and stretching. Speaking of which, I might go off on a bit of a tangent here, but yeah, having a cutoff time or a turn-in time, whatever you want to call it, can be really useful. Some people like to stay up really late at night doing work, and that is not good at all unless you are a night owl, but even night owls need their sleep and whatnot. This is why it's so important to get enough sleep. Productive people, they don't get enough sleep because they're productive. They're productive because they get enough sleep. So get your 8 to 10 hours a night every night. Sleep quality also matters though. Supplements may help, but getting enough sleep is just so important to your energy levels and in turn how productive you are. You'll sleep for 24 hours, just one day. That is the equivalent of having a blood alcohol content of 0.10, I think, which is above the legal driving limit. That's horrible. That's actually really crazy. I was so shocked when I learned that. Sleep is just that important. Eating enough food, too, that's really important. Sometimes if I go long enough without food, I get headaches, my stomach starts to hurt, and I just get so flipping tired. I can't even think in the smallest, most minor things ever. Things that shouldn't even bother me at all. Start making me so mad I want to cry. If I'm hungry, I'm not a very enjoyable person to be around. Food is fuel and energy, and we need it to function, even if you're in a calorie deficit or something like that. Don't eat 800 calories a day because that is barely enough to sustain a 3-year-old, I think. Eat enough food to function because that is the whole purpose of eating food, to function. If there are certain foods that just make you feel all yucky and crappy, don't eat them. Eat other things that give you energy and make you feel good. Maintain your energy, maintain your productivity. Okay, so that was all I had to say for this episode. I hope it helps you, or at least that one of these tips help you out even a little bit, because we could all use a bit more productivity in our lives. To end our episode today, I have a quote for you guys from Stephen Covey. Well, the quote goes, "The key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities." Bye, guys. Rate, review, follow, and share this podcast. Drink some water. Please, please, please go follow me on Instagram at theglowupguidepodcast. And I love you all.